This cybersecurity tool is amazing. You need to use it for your projects. Not only it's free and open source, but also you're going to learn about vulnerabilities that it finds and how to fix and protect against those vulnerabilities. I just installed and scanned my project with just 2 commands. Yeah, that's simple. With just 2 commands, I installed the tool and scanned my project and found over 50 high and active bugs or vulnerabilities in my project. The amazing part is that you can use this tool on all operating systems like Mac, Linux, and Windows. It doesn't matter which operating system you're using, you are able to download it, install it, and use it for securing your code. So let's talk about Barrier. Barrier is a static application security testing tool that scans your source code and data flows to find security risks and vulnerabilities that could lead to sensitive data exposures. Or in other words, Barrier can help you prevent unwanted security and privacy issues by scanning your projects for potential bugs and vulnerabilities. Barrier is open source and free to use and super helpful for teams and solo developers. So Barrier has built-in rules against common security risks and vulnerabilities known as OWASP Top 10. Barrier can also scan your code for a wide range of security risks, including unfiltered user input, leakage of sensitive data, weakened encryption, hard encoded secrets and tokens, SQL injection, XSS, CSRF, or SSRF or cross-site request forgery, and much more. There's also another cool feature that you can configure Barrier with GitHub so that it can check your code before going on the internet, that I will talk about in just a moment. So now how to install Barrier. The installation process of Barrier is pretty simple. They have provided all the necessary instructions on their website, also on their GitHub repository that you can check it out here. I will put the links of the website and also the GitHub repository in the description of this video. You can check out the documentation and also all the instructions that are provided here. While you're visiting their GitHub repository, make sure to drop a star in order to support the great team of the Barrier who are providing us with free software and tool. So Barrier can be installed on different machines as I mentioned, like Linux, Mac, Windows. No matter what operating system you're using, you can install and use Barrier. So you can find the installation process here on GitHub. As you can see in the README file, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Also, you can find it in the docs.barrier.com/quick start. I will provide the links to these web pages in the description of the video. In order to install the Barrier, I will jump into my Kali Linux machine and demonstrate how to download the Juice Shop application, also how to install Barrier with just only one command, and also how to scan or use Barrier to scan the OWASP Juice Shop project to find common vulnerabilities or the vulnerabilities that are exist in the project. Let's go. So now I'm on my Kali Linux machine and I am on the Barrier's website on the documentation page. So here you can see the installation process is pretty simple. You can just copy the code here, the command here, and it will install, and open the terminal and just paste it here, and you can run it. As I have previously installed and have the Barrier installed, I do need to run this, but for you can easily install by just one command line. And also if your platform supports the homebrew using the Barrier CLI's official homebrew tab, you can just install run the command brew install barrier /tab/barrier. So in order to run Barrier on your projects, you just need to run the follow command. The Barrier scan Juice Shop. So you have to be in the folder that your project is located, and just you can run it Barrier scan Juice Shop. It will run the Barrier and it will scan your code, and it will use the SAST scanner. And also there are two types of scanners types here. You can just check it out here, scanner types. So by default it will use the SAST scanner. So it will scan your code, and after scanning all your project and all your codes, it will return the report, and you can check the report And also there has another cool feature that I will show you how you will understand the vulnerability and how it will show you to fix the code. So let's jump into my terminal. So as you can see, I have the projects here in this folder. So I'm gonna move to projects, and also as you can see, I have the Juice Shop application here, or the Juice Shop vulnerable web application here. If you don't have, you can just download it by copying and pasting this command to your terminal. You can just git clone and link to the Juice Shop directory or the Juice Shop GitHub link, and you provide it here, and you can easily download all the files of the Juice Shop on your machine. So now let's run barrier on our project and let's see how many vulnerabilities it will find. So what you do is barrier scan Juice Shop, and let's hit enter, and it should load the rules, and after running loading the rules, it will start scanning the Juice Shop, as you can see, and after some time it will give you the report or the result of the scan. It may take just a few seconds to a few minutes depending on the project, and then you will have the result. So let's wait for it to finish and how many vulnerabilities it will find. Now the scan is finished, and it performed about 72 checks and also 54 findings. So from this above 54 findings, there are 0 criticals, but there are 22 high security vulnerabilities and 32 medium security vulnerabilities. There's no low vulnerabilities or the warnings. So if you scroll up a little bit, you can see that it will give you a description of the vulnerability, for example, external control of file name or path, and also you will have a link to know about the vulnerability and also how you can fix it inside your project. So let's copy this link. As you can see, there's about the external control of file name or path. You will find the description and also how to remedy it or how you can fix the code inside your project here. It will provide you a detail about the vulnerability and also how to fix it. So this is amazing. Or you can check all of them, or if you find any vulnerability inside your project, you can check the details and also how to fix them inside by following the links that are provided here. And that's how you can install the barrier and also scan your projects with barrier before pushing it online or pushing it to GitHub. And now let's move on to the amazing part of how you can configure barrier with your GitHub so that it should scan your project or your files or your codes whenever you push it to the GitHub. Try it now. The link is provided in the description of the video, and let me know what you think about the barrier and the cool features that it can provide. Teams and most of the developers push their code on GitHub. Now the amazing part is that barrier can also be used with GitHub Actions to automate the security scanning process. This means that you can configure barrier to scan your code every time you push changes to your GitHub repository. So basically, as soon as you push your code, it will run an action that tells you what the issues are. To use barrier with GitHub Actions, you first need to create a new workflow file. This file will tell GitHub how to run barrier. The workflow file will tell GitHub to run barrier every time you push changes to the master branch of your repository. So now let's create a workflow for our project on GitHub. So I'm having the Juice Shop files or the Juice Shop project, the vulnerable web application here on my GitHub repository. So there are two ways in order to configure barrier with your GitHub repository in order to scan your code every time you push it to GitHub. The first way is the manual one that you came to Actions tab and create a new workflow for your project. The second way or the second option is that you can go to the GitHub marketplace, and for now the barrier security is available on the GitHub marketplace. You can just search by barrier and you can see it's available. The barrier security is available under the actions listing of the GitHub marketplace. You can click on it and read the details and the example usage that is provided here. You can use the latest version or you can use it any version that is available here. For this video, I'm going with the manual approach and create a new workflow for my project, but it's completely up to you. Either you use it the manual option or you can use it from the GitHub action, from the marketplace directly. When you are visiting the barrier security on GitHub marketplace, make sure to drop a star for the great team of Barrier for providing us this amazing tool. So for this, what you have to do is just come to actions here. So I do this all manually on GitHub website, as you can see, but you can do it in any way that you are comfortable. For example, if you are using Visual Studio Code, you can create a file under the GitHub/workflows folder by any name that you want. So as I'm doing it manually, I'm just coming here and creating a new workflow, and here I will just click on this, set up a workflow yourself. So here you can name it whatever you want, but remember it's important that it should be under the GitHub/workflows folder. So I'm gonna name it, for example, barrier scan.yml, and the extension should be YML. So here I don't need to write any code because the barrier, the team, they have provided us with the code that we need. So I'm going to just come here and copy the code, Control-C, and just paste it here. So now we have the code and we just need to commit the changes, and then we will see that it will immediately run an action on our code on GitHub, and we will see the problems, all the vulnerabilities that are there, or the errors or that are represented in the Juice Shop application. So let's commit the changes and commit the changes. Now if you come to the workflows or the actions again and the actions tab here, you will see that we created the barrier scan YML file. So now it will run. As you can see, it's in progress. It will run, and just in a few seconds or minutes we will see that we will have an error. So now we should wait until it finishes the scan or the action that we set for it.
A few moments later.
So now it has finished. It took about 1 minute. It just took about 1 minute. So now let's check it, the results here, the action. As you can see, it will run a rule check. So click here. Now you will see the full report of the barrier that we saw earlier. So if you come down to the bottom of the report, you will see here that the barrier performed 72 checks and it had 54 findings. So there were 0 criticals, but there were 22 high vulnerabilities and 32 medium vulnerabilities. So that's how you can configure barrier with your GitHub in order to scan your code every time you push your code to GitHub. And that's it for this video. I hope you find this video helpful, and make sure to support the barrier team by visiting their GitHub repository and giving them a star. And also, for more information, you can check their website. I will put the links in the description of the video. Also, if you don't know how to use it, they have a complete documentation on quick start, how to use it, how to install it, and any information that you need. And if you find this video useful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification to be notified when I upload a new video. And also feel free to share and with your friends, and also comment what are your thoughts about the barrier. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.